Islamic Republic of Iran fired some 200 ballistic missiles into Israel. IDF's anti-missile Iron Dome and arrow systems largely neutralized Tehran's offensive. The world is watching with bated breath on whether Israel will retaliate in kind to the October 1 offensive. Israel knows that the Islamic Republic has weak air defenses with an air force hardly worth the name. Potent Israeli attack against Iran will lead to vertical escalation and could spark off a regional war. Islamic Republic of Iran fired some 200 ballistic missiles into Israel on October 1st as a retaliation for the targeted killing of Islamist Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah, IRGC's Operations Deputy General Abbas, Nilforoushan, and Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh by Israel. The Iranian ballistic missiles had Israel's Nevatim air base in Negev desert as well as Mossad's headquarters as targets, but the mission, despite the massive number of projectiles fired, largely failed as IDF's anti-missile Iron Dome and arrow systems largely neutralized Tehran's offensive. On April 13 this year, Tehran again targeted Israel with a mixture of ballistic missiles, drones and cruise missiles to avenge the IDF's attack on Iranian embassy in Damascus, in which 2 IRGC's generals perished in the airstrike. While the world is watching with bated breath on whether Israel will retaliate in kind to the October 1 offensive, Tel Aviv's key ally US is trying to persuade Benjamin Netanyahu to keep the response proportional to the damage caused by Tehran's missile attack. So the million-dollar question is, will Israel directly counterattack Iran? Will this lead to regional conflagration or a global war? The answer to this question is complex, as there are multiple variables in play, with the first anniversary of the horrible massacre of Israeli innocents by Hamas terrorist group on October 7, 2023 just round the corner. Even today, Hamas has some 101 hostages with them, with only 66 out of them expected to be alive. After decapitating Hamas in Gaza and defanging other Palestinian groups in West Bank, Israel has now launched a ground offensive against severely degraded Hezbollah in Lebanon with the intention of extinguishing Iran's ring of fire against Israel once and for all. While the military objective in Gaza and Lebanon is to emasculate Iranian proxies, the political objective of Netanyahu is to have a Tel Aviv-friendly regime in both Gaza and Lebanon so that October 7 is never repeated again. Last night, the IDF targeted Nasrallah's successor, Hashem Safedin, in Beirut, as Israel continues to obliterate the Hamas leadership in Gaza with a hunt to eliminate Yahya Sinwar still on. Even though Netanyahu has vowed revenge against Iran for the ballistic missiles attack, Israel knows that the Islamic Republic has weak air defenses with an air force hardly worth the name. Iran also does not have unlimited supply of missiles, as its principal supplier, Russia, is itself fighting a war with the West-backed Ukraine. Unlike Israel, which managed to shoot the Iranian attack out of the sky, Tehran has no capacity to neutralize an Israeli air or ballistic missile counterattack with its rudimentary air defenses, and the casualties will be heavy in case Netanyahu chooses to inflict pain on Tehran. But a potent Israeli attack against Iran will lead to vertical escalation and could spark off a regional war with serious ramifications on global oil supply and trade in the Persian Gulf as well as North Arabian Sea. The disruption of trade and oil supply is something that the world can ill afford at this moment. Given that Israel will need full US political and military support to take on Iran on its territory, Netanyahu may just back the Iranian ballistic missile attack IOU with Washington for another day, while concentrating on totally decimating Hezbollah and Houthis as it has done with the Hamas terror group. By doing this, Israel will be able to significantly reduce the threat or buffer it on its doorstep and could take on Iran at the time and date of its choosing. This does not mean that Israel will stop covert operations against Iran or its IRGC commanders who have been running these terror proxies in the name of jihad against Tel Aviv for decades. While Netanyahu has clearly defined his political objective by openly instigating the Iranian population to rise against the Ayatollahs, Israel's military objective against Tehran is to neuter its nuclear power and its capacity to wage long-distance war with standoff weapons like ballistic missiles, armed drones, and cruise missiles. Even though there is a clampdown of news in Iran, there are constant reports about dissatisfaction in the public over taking Islamic religious practices to an extreme as a weapon to subjugate the masses. The Shia nation has been under economic sanctions for decades, with the public under the iron hand of the Ayatollahs and IRGC, while Tehran projects itself as the self-appointed flag bearer of Islam in the world. Though Israel needs US backing in the Middle East, the military and the political leverage of the Biden administration with all the main players in West Asia has weakened over the years and will remain so till the forthcoming US election next month comes up with a powerful winner. With the US in full election mode, Israel also knows that it has time till January 20, 2025, when the new president will take oath in Washington to militarily secure its position against the trained non-state proxies of Iran. European powers and the UN can only offer angry words to both sides. Russia is quagmired in Ukraine, and China has problems of its own in Indo-Pacific and on the Indian border. Albeit, there is a big risk of a regional war in case Israel attacks Iran in kind by taking out military and economic critical infrastructure. Netanyahu has no options but to take on Iran, as the root cause of the problem lies in Tehran. Fact is that Israel cannot take a chance on another Iranian ballistic missile attack, as missile interceptors are known to fail and are more costly than the intercepted missile. One mishap and Israel will have to pay a deadly price. Even if Israel is able to defang Hezbollah in Lebanon and Houthis in Yemen, the same way as Hamas has been neutered, these terror groups will regroup and rearm soon with the support of Iran, and the larger problem of Israel's national security will remain unaddressed. For Israel and its citizens to be safe, Netanyahu will have to take the war to Iran with a strong hope of a regime change in Tehran, as Tel Aviv and the Middle East will be constantly under threat till the time the Ayatollahs rule the Persian nation. The largest solution does not lie in high-value covert strikes against Iran, but forcing Tehran to permanently give up on its terror tactics against Israel. This will not only bring peace to the region, but also unleash economic revival of West Asia, with Sunni powers like Saudi Arabia and UAE ready to take the plunge through the Middle East economic corridor. Israeli action on October 7, 2024 will be a clear indicator of the future of the Middle East. The clock is already ticking and the world is on tenterhooks. Namaskar.